Interest rate options. This time we want to go to traded options. Traded options. Let's talk about the traded option. The options that you have looked at are over the counter, and you have linked them to FRIs, forward rate agreements. Those are found at the banks. The same banks that offer FRIs, they also offer options on FRIs. Okay. Now let's turn to another type. That type is called a traded option. Traded interest rate options, they are available as options on interest rate futures. Now, this is a significant statement. These are available as options on interest rate futures. Meaning that a person can go straight into futures you can immediately use futures. Just like somebody can immediately or directly use what? If he doesn't want, we have just learned that you can use what? An IRG, which is an option here. In a similar way, a person can take an option on futures. Option on futures. So there are two possibilities. You can go directly into futures, or you can get an option on futures. They are available as options on interest rate futures, which give the holder the right to buy. And the right to buy, what do we call it? Or the right to sell, what do we call the right to sell? One futures contract on or before the expiry of the option at a specified date. So the traded options give you a right to buy or sell a single futures contract. A single futures contract. So let's look at this now. Here, what I want you to learn is, do you use a call option or a put option? Options on futures. Traded options are options to buy or sell futures. A call option gives the holder the right to buy a futures contract. A put option gives the holder the right to sell a futures contract. You always buy the option. Buy the right to buy or buy the right to sell. So you either buy a call option or you buy a put option. So which one are you going to use? In the markets, the markets where we invest or borrow money, that's what this means. The markets where we invest or indeed borrow money. That's the meaning of cash market. If you want to invest or deposit money, what have you said in the futures? What do you do in the futures market? What does an investor do? An investor sells bonds. So what does he do? Like the question that we just looked at this afternoon. So what type of an option do you need then? If you're an investor who's going to buy futures, what type of an option do you need? You need a call option. If you want to get a loan or you want to borrow money, when it comes to futures, what do? A borrower sells what? A borrower sells bonds. So a borrower is going to sell futures. So what type of an option does he need? He needs a put option. Now some of you may say, but why are we talking about futures again? Some of you may say, we are now confusing us because we thought we have moved away from the futures. And now we are on the options. So why do futures come in? It's because these options are options on futures. Are you seeing the title? Look at the title. What does the title say on the slide? Options on interest rate futures. So these options are on the futures. So what we do on the option is determined by what we are doing in the futures. So that is why we say, because investors buy futures, this helps us to know what type of an option to get. Because borrowers sell futures, that helps us to understand the type of option that we need. I hope I've addressed that question. I hope I've addressed that question. This is how traded interest rate options appear. That's how they appear. Okay. We have got our own, but we can interpret this. Let's interpret this. Let's interpret this together. These are what? Options on 3 months futures. And the contract size is $2 million. Option premiums are in annual percentages. Annual percentages. We've got calls on this side. So these are calls. The right to buy. And we've got puts this side. So these are the right to sell. 94.5 in terms of interest rate, that is 100 minus 94.5. This one is 100 minus 95. So this is 5%. This is 5.5. What of these? These small numbers that you see here are premiums. And these premiums are in your annual percentages. So these are premiums. They are percentages. That's what these are. So depending on which product you choose and the month, you're going to pay a premium accordingly. You're going to pay a premium accordingly. Is that okay? So let's now start talking about hedging. To hedge using interest rate options, to hedge a future borrowing, you must purchase a what? A put option. To hedge a future investment, you must purchase what? A call option. So that is how we decide. We are now going to our questions. We are now going to go to our questions. We are now going to go to our questions. Let's go to those two questions that we are working with this afternoon. Let's go to our two questions that we are working with this afternoon. Okay.